All right, so we are looking for a quick weekend project, right? Welcome back to Weaving with Ambrosia. Today, I am looking at, if you guys have watched my channel enough, you realize I just love blue and I put it in everything. I am looking at just making some houndstooth coasters or mug rugs, just to give us something, a quick weekend project that you can do. And if you need a last minute gift and you just have some yarn lying around, you can make these beautiful coasters. Um, we are probably going to make 6 coasters, and we are going to use this peacock blue and this natural white cotton. So they are 8/4 cottons, and we'll do it in a 12 dent heddle. It will be a plain weave, so that will be very easy to do. And what we'll do is we'll do 2 houndstooth coasters, 2 that are blue with white stripes, and 2 that are white with blue stripes. And that will give us 3 basic designs off of the exact same warp, and all using a plain weave technique. And the way we're going to accomplish this is when we are threading it, we will do every other slot. When we're threading it, every other slot will be a peacock thread, and the every other one will be a white thread. So after we get it warped and we start to tie on, we start to put the threads in the holes. And since we'll have 2 threads in each slot, we'll take one and it'll be a blue in a slot, a blue in a hole, a white in a slot, a white in a hole. And to give a better idea of what that will look like is here we have our heddle. So when we're first warping, we'll just pull through one of these slots with the blue and then this slot with the white. But that will leave a hole. So we'll have a slot and a hole in blue, and then a slot and a hole in white, and we'll continue that pattern all the way across. So it'll be slot, hole, blue, slot, hole, white, and we'll continue that for the distance of our mug rug. Let me think, how wide do I want it? Mug rugs are usually about 5 to 8 inches wide, so maybe we'll do 6 or 7 inches wide for our mug rug. So it's going to be a fairly narrow project. It'll be very easy to complete quickly, and it won't take much fiber. And with our length, so if we do, let's say 6 inches wide, and we'll do 8 inches long, right? Because we need to hold a cup of coffee and a little plate. I think 8. Yeah, my hand's about 6. It's close to 6 inches. So just a little bit longer. So it'll be just a little bit longer than it is wide. We'll do you guys think we should do 8 or 10? We'll do 8 or 10 inches. And since there'll be 6 of them, let's right now we'll just in our mind say 10 inches because we're going to have some little fringes. So we'll probably only weave about 9 inches and then leave some fringes in between, an inch in between each one. So that would be 60 plus shrinkage, 66, plus what we lose on the warp. That's another 12 usually with the rigid heddle loom. It's between 12 and 18, but we'll go with 12. So we need to warp about 78 inches, 78, 80 inches. Let's do 80. We'll do 80 inches in our warp, and then our width will be, we'll expect a little bit of shrinkage. We'll do 6.5. And then when it shrinks down, it should be closer to that 6. So we'll do 6.5 in the heddle and 80 inches in length. And that should give us our 6 little mug rugs. And we'll check in once I have it warped so you can really look at it and see how that looks. All right, so as you see here, we now have our fibers lined up. So as I was saying earlier, when you're threading this, you go ahead and just pull. Each time you warp, every other one is going to be white and blue. And we did this for 6.5 inches. Now we're going to finish threading, and as I was mentioning, so we get 2 in a row, so we have 1 in the slot and 1 in the hole, we will pull this blue thread through and thread it through the hole. And now we have the 2. Grab the white, do the same thing. And we'll just continue this across for the entire length. Okay, so we got it all threaded up. As you can see, every other one that comes up is white or blue, and the other one is, and one that's down matches. So here you go. It's the same on both ends. So I'm just setting that down there to help spread out the warp. Make sure. And why is that thread missing? This is a good thing to make sure there's no issues, which I am spotting one right there. There we go. All right, there we go. Much better. So I'm going to go in with our blue thread. And again, always leave a tail about 3 times as wide as your project. Depending on the fabric, sometimes you want a little bit more. So that is for us to do our hem stitch with later. So I'm going to just do a pass real quick. Just one pass. And this single thread is going to be for the hem stitch. And now I'm going to start our pattern with 2 passes of the peacock or the blue. 1, 2. So I'm not counting that first pass because that is going to be for the hem stitch. It's not part of the pattern. And 2. Alright. Now I'm going to go in with our natural white. And I'm going to do a small tail here. Tuck it in. Boop, 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 put that down. And then down shed. Go in with the white again. Oops. Around that pickup stick. And you'll always want to carry up the next color. So I'm going to pick up that white with the blue to carry it up. And let's go in with the blue again. And as you can see, I'm going to wrap around the white so it pulls up with the blue, gets tucked in. Up. Down. And now the white. We're doing 2 passes of each as part of the pattern. Take a little break and I'll hem stitch that up. And we'll continue this pattern. But for Houndstooth, it is a color weave. So when you do this, and you go back and forth, it just creates a natural pattern. So you want to start your pattern boats on the same side. Although it seemed like I started my boat over here, the reason why I started the white one on this side instead is because I did an uneven number of passes. So since I only did one pass to start for the hem stitch, the whole pattern started on the second pass. So that's, I considered this side my starting point. So every time I go around, my boats are on the same side every time I complete a pass, and that's going to keep my edges a little bit neater because I'm just going to go around right there each time. Oops. And you can already start seeing that pattern starting to come alive, even though we've only done a few passes. Now these are definitely a great little project for anybody who's looking for something quick to whip together for a last minute gift or anything like that. You can drop your boats like me. You can definitely whip these together over a weekend, which might be all you have. I'm going to advance my warp here and do the hem stitch, and we'll check back in just a minute. So you can definitely see the pattern coming along, and we'll go ahead and keep this up for a little bit longer until we have about 9 inches. So let's get started. All right, so I think just a couple more passes and we will have our 9 inches. Let me go through with the blue and see where we're at again. think I will do the blue, and then I'll do the white one more time, and I'll finish off with the blue again. And that will be just over 9 inches, which will be perfect for our project. And I'll do the hem stitch. So this would also make a beautiful scarf pattern, but right now we're just doing some mug rugs, and these are both type of things you could whip up over the weekend, just a small scarf or a small mug rug. Actually, before I go in with this blue, let me tuck in the white. Let me cut this off. Nice quick tail. Back in the down shed. Tuck it around over. We'll go ahead and tap that in. Alright, now we'll do 3 passes with the blue, just like we had done at the bottom, so we have that extra thread to pick up. And that will finish off this mug rug. Down. Now let's go ahead and measure about 3 lengths again. 1, 2, 3. This off. And let's hem stitch. So this is how you do a simple houndstooth pattern, and our next check-in we'll be doing the white stripes, and then we'll be doing the blue. See you guys in a minute. So here we have, when we do the plain weave with the white, you can see you have the thin blue stripes, and it gives it a much lighter feel. We'll continue and get to the blue, and we'll show that. Whenever you're doing a project like this, you can choose to do it as a scarf and do the same color changes, which I can kind of give you an example of what that would look like once I get it off the loom. But let's keep going. What I love about this right now is if I take this, since they will all look different, I would be able to give 2 mug rugs to one person, 2 to another, and 2 to another. So I technically have 3 different gifts I could give away from a weekend project. If I did a scarf, obviously I could give one person a really nice scarf. I would need to make it at least 2 inches wider, but up to double the width, honestly, in order to have a really nice scarf. But it would still be a very fun pattern. And another great thing is this project only takes about 350 yards total, so about 175 of both colors, and it will be complete. So let's keep going, and we'll check back in a little while. And when you go in primarily with blue, you get the same pattern as with the white, except for now you got the zigzag white lines versus the zigzag in the blue line. I like the blue more personally, but as I've said before, I just love the color blue. I can't help it. So we'll keep going up through this, and once it's done, I'll show you kind of different ways you can apply it if you wanted to make a scarf. All right, so here we have our finished sets. So here is the first set. You have 2 with these beautiful houndstooth, and then we have the blue with the white stripes, and then we have the white with the blue stripes. So this is all one warp, so that's why I say you can really kind of make a group of 3 gifts of mug rugs from this. And these are great size mug rugs, perfect for, you know, holding a cup of coffee and a little snack. Now, another thing I love about this is I mentioned if you made it a little bit wider, you could have a scarf. And that is entirely true. You would probably need to make it at least a couple inches and up to twice as wide. So this project takes probably about 350 yards. So I would say about 175 yards of each color. If you wanted to do a wider scarf, you are going to need a little bit more. So just factor that in. This is easily a weekend project. A scarf is actually going to be quicker because you're not going to stop to do as many hem stitches. I had to do 2 hem stitch on each one, so that's 12 hem stitches. On a scarf, you're just going to do 2. Now, let's go ahead and look at how we can actually decide what we wanted to do with a scarf by taking these little mug rugs and lining them up. All right, so I'm actually going to fold over the hem stitch so we don't see it on the sides where we are connecting. So I had mentioned before, sometimes when I do projects like this, I will actually do part of it. I'll do the whole scarf, but I will do part of it with houndstooth and part of it with stripes. And that is entirely true. So to show kind of what it would look like to line up, we can just cover up the parts that we don't need with, and you can have this arrangement. Or if you would prefer, boop, you switch it out, and then you can go light to dark, and you have a 3-section scarf, or you have this beautiful switch, and you can do half and half. You have these beautiful options that you can do, or if you want to do the houndstooth in the center, you can always do that also. And then you have a light, a dark, and a houndstooth, or maybe the center and then 2 lights, or whatever you really want. So if you have, say, a little extra of one color and you know that you're going to need to kind of mix it up, you can easily do that without having any issues. Or here, you can do 2 darks and a light, or even doing houndstooth on 2 ends with the plain in the center, and then you have something like that. So you can actually piece together different options for a scarf just by kind of moving these little pieces around and deciding what you want to do. By moving these little pieces around and deciding what you want to do, because now you're actually sampling and you can visualize what it would look like if you did different setups. Or of course, you can just do simple houndstooth the entire way. You really do have a lot of options, and I just like to highlight that so that when you are looking, you can make that decision for what's best for your project. Or even if you want to do something like this, where you have just a dual scarf, so it's one side is the light and the other side is the dark. It's all the same warp to get these different outcomes. So thanks for watching. Let me know which project you decide to do and if this is going to make your last minute gift list. Have an awesome day.